Hello, hello, hello. Haunted here. This is my first react video. If you enjoy, hope you stick around. But today we're going to be reacting to I believe you pronounce his name as Mujin. I've heard people pronounce it slightly differently, but anyway, we're going to react to his video on how Minecraft's #1 player got exposed as a total fraud. Now, I have seen not this specific video, but I have heard of the situation. Apart from some of the details of what they did, I have no idea. I've heard some of the details. I have no idea, like, super in depth. So I'm here to learn. We'll see how pathetic this gets, because I feel like this is gonna be awfully pathetic. All right, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Money. It makes the world go round.
True.
With people willing to do almost anything to get more of it. In fact, money is so important that it can dictate how society behaves as a whole. If it paid to be kind, then people would be kind. But if it paid more to be evil, then people would simply turn evil.
I disagree a little bit. Some people would, not everyone. But this isn't where I expected a Minecraft video to start, I'm not gonna lie.
More specifically, if it paid to fake your gender and fake your skill level to millions of people for years by...
Huh? Wait a minute. I know the second part. What do you mean, fake your gender? I have so many questions. Oh my, already? I'm not even gonna start yapping about it.
Hacking and cheating, some would willingly choose to do so if it was profitable. However, you'd have to be a very special kind of degenerate to do those things, all while planning to publicly fake your own suicide once you were inevitably exposed.
Whoa. Whoa. No. I understood what he blurred out there, and I'm glad he blurred it out for my sake as well, because I'm going to be posting this. What do you mean? No, there's no one this crazy out there.
To be a fraud. Meet Marlow, who for years was considered to be the most skilled player to ever exist in Minecraft PvP. In parallel to that though, they'd be running a totalitarian regime that would ban and blacklist anyone who doubted...
I've never heard of this person before this whole controversy thing, by the way. I've not really been big into the Minecraft scene for a hot minute. And by a hot minute, I mean 7, 8 years.
criticized them, throwing all women under the bus by claiming that any and all valid criticisms against them were rooted in misogyny.
I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I hate that that's like the first place that this always ends up at. If there's any sort of thing on, like, any sort of like girl involved, that's the first place it ends up, which is sad.
This would be the community status quo for...
Don't get me wrong, it does happen. Like there's been some stuff recently where some of it was valid, some of it was misogyny, but it's like it's just constant. It feels like stuff is constantly repeating, honestly. Because I feel like I've heard like word for word that like 100 times at this point.
Far too long. And now finally, after all these years...
Oh, hello. What's this? Render glare, disable text. Oh. No entity trace through walls, switch block rotation. I've never seen like Minecraft hacks, like what they look like, so I'm kind of just curious. I know some of these, like, obviously some of these are self-explanatory and stuff, but this, switch back. I don't know what that is. If anyone knows, let me know, but I'm not a hacker, obviously, so I have no idea what some of these are. Disable mouse. Huh? Your mouse? Your opponent's mouse? That would be worse. What? Okay.
Years of manipulation, silencing, and bullying of critics, Marlow has finally been exposed to be the ultimate Minecraft fraud who faked everything, even down to their gender, with undeniable proof. And
undeniable. What the hell?
Seeing how much of an unprecedented disaster.
Wait, 2 days ago, 6 days ago, 2 days ago. This was posted like quite a few days ago now, so yeah, like a little over a week ago. This is all happened? Okay.
This all is, and how confusing it might be to someone who's not part of the Minecraft PvP community, I figured we had to talk about it. And so, without further ado, let's do this. All right, so if you haven't been living under a rock for the last 2 decades, you probably know what Minecraft is. And when it comes to most people, they recognize it as the sandbox survival game, otherwise known as Minecraft Vanilla. Some others might recognize it differently, modding the game heavily with visual and gameplay enhancements and pretty much making it into an entirely different game. However,
Minecraft might be like, it probably is like the most moddable game kind of out there. Like you can mod it into whatever you want, and I think that's great. It's one of the things I do love about this game. I don't really play it anymore, but it does have a special place in my heart still.
Another sizable chunk of this game's player base will look at it purely from a PvP perspective, going up against other players to prove their skill in numerous game modes. And for someone who doesn't play PvP at all, this is where things get very confusing because these game modes are very different from the gameplay you've come to expect in vanilla or even modded Minecraft. One of these PvP game modes, for example, is called UHC, where both players start with the same exact loadouts, having to use a mix of building, laying things down on the terrain, and also using their weapons and defending all at the same time. Another game mode is called Nethbot, which literally just involves you throwing pots at each other, with many of them having different abilities and effects.
That's very funny that the term uses pots a little bit, because it does sound like you're saying pots. Like pots is short for potions, I'm pretty sure.
However, one of the most popular and probably the most confusing game mode for new players is Crystal PvP. Here's some gameplay, and yes, it's totally normal if you have literally no idea what's going on. It mostly involves using a mix of obsidian blocks as well as ender crystals to kill the other player. How did people come up with this concept? Well, that's a 1-hour video by itself. The point is, this game has over 200 million monthly active users that play.
What? I didn't know it was this big. I knew it was popular, I knew it was big, I didn't know it was this big.
Play it, and a good chunk of them play only PvP. This is what they focus on. But here's the deal. When you focus on something for so long and want to get better at it, there's a question that starts to pop up in the community. Who are the best players for each game mode? In fact, who's the best of them all? And seeing that all these servers with all these different game modes are unofficial, they're simply not affiliated with the official game or its developers, most had given up on the idea of coming up with a ranking system. But that would of course be until mctiers.com would come along. MC Tiers would be a community-driven effort to rank.
Let's see. I'm guessing this is like a real screenshot. I don't know any of these people. Yeah, no, I don't know anyone here.
Rank players in all 8 of these different game modes. This would all be done through its PvP server on Minecraft called mcpvp.club. Its founders were mainly 3 people: Enz, Learn, and of course, Marlow. And the way it worked wasn't very simple, actually. In a nutshell though, MC Tiers would have a Discord for every single one of these game modes. So Crystal PvP, UHC, Pot, NetOp, etc, etc. It will be open to anyone. And let's say you wanted to test out your Crystal PvP level, you would join the server, join the waitlist, and eventually get tested. And the way it would work wouldn't be MMR based like games similar to Valorant or Overwatch. You would have people in the voice call with you, watching you play and examining your playstyle as you go up against all these different tiers. There'd be 5 of these tiers, tier 5 being the worst and tier 1 being the best. This meant that when it came to the...
So it's like judged, like, kind of like a, I don't know, like a Britain's Got Talent of... The judges say how good you are. That's interesting.
This community-driven effort, trust was at its forefront. You were trusting the people examining everyone to do this in a non-biased way and to the...
Yeah, no, I don't trust anyone that I don't know personally. This is... Are we surprised? I'm not surprised at all that this is the direction it went. I don't trust strangers like this at all to be unbiased. Honestly. Like, sure, if nothing suspicious happening, I'm chill, but in the back of my mind, I'm always gonna be at least a little bit, like, you know, analyzing what's going on, because no one's truly impartial.
best of their ability. But of course,
but obviously you can try to be and you can be fair, but like no one is impartial. Come on.
This also meant that this system had a lot of its critics. When confronted, though, the response would always...
I just heard about it, and I'm one of those critics. I don't like that type of system, honestly.
...be the same. Do you have any better ideas? No one in the community had come close to making something like this. And in fact,
like MMR, like that's the way video games use it. That's like the standard for a reason. So I don't know.
Today, if you type on Google Minecraft PvP, the first thing you'll see is MC Tier's rankings. View Minecraft's best combat players or participate in the ranked community. To many people in Minecraft's sizable PvP community, this was the official ranking for the best players in the world, period. And speaking of best players, even though Marlow was one of the co-founders of the website, you'd always manage to see her in the top 3 best players of all time on the leaderboard. This right here is the first version of mctiers.com, which came
very different. Okay.
Came out shortly after the pandemic.
NAEU, yeah. Makes sense. That's cool.
Around the early 2020s. By then, for most people, the player It's Real Me was the best Minecraft PvP player of all time. But Marlow would always be close second. The gap between It's Real Me and Marlow was always very wide to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th players. They were always in a league of their own, and there's a reason for that. This overall leaderboard would combine all the 8 game modes together for your overall rank. It's Real Me and Marlow were constantly in the top ranks of every single game mode. And to make you understand what this means, this is like someone who is a...
So we know like this Marlow person is like cheating and stuff, obviously. Who the hell was this It's Real Me guy? Because if he isn't cheating, that is crazy. He's like... He is cracked. What the hell?
NASCAR driver that also happens to be a rally race car driver and who also happens to be a Formula 1 driver, all at the same time. Just because you know how to drive a car doesn't mean you can be good at all these things combined.
Unless you're Max Verstappen. But he's not wrong.
And it's the same thing here. Just because you're good at one of these game modes doesn't mean you're good at all of them. They all require different...
If you don't know, like Max recently, I'm pretty sure it was GT3, right? He like won like on a 4-hour endurance race or something. Or I don't know if that counts as an endurance race, but he won something like a GT3 race recently, or a little while ago now, probably. And obviously, he's like probably the best Formula 1 driver in the world. I know he didn't win the last championship, but still. It's still like hard to deny just how good he is at racing.
Strategies, keybinds, and an insane, ridiculous learning curve, but both It's Real Me and Marlow made it look easy. They were dominating in every single one. But the thing is, to many, Marlow was yet on another level. At some point, she beat one of the best PvPers in Minecraft 100-0. Yes, they fought together 100 times, and she didn't let him win once. Clown Pierce got absolutely destroyed, utterly owned, and it only served to show why Marlow was so close to beating the best player of all time in rankings soon. For the Minecraft PvP community, and as recently as 2025, many were in agreement. The best player...
Competitive, it's Marlow. I do agree Marlow is really good, but not all people have been ranked or have tested, blah, blah, blah. I know IWRT is good too and has beat Marlow once or twice. It really depends on the game mode. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. That's why I typically go to the competitive one. Ask that question because then I don't have to think. That last one is a hell of a statement. Okay.
Of all time in Minecraft PvP is Marlow. No argument, no questions asked. This level of skill definitely came with its advantages, with Marlow's YouTube channel reaching over 400,000 subscribers in any video they'd upload getting
1.4 million, 1.3, 1.1, almost a million, 1.1, 50, 500 almost. Yeah, no, there's some crazy views for Minecraft. Although, if this was...
hundreds of thousands, if not over a million views.
They said like it started right after COVID, so like I'm pretty sure Minecraft, yeah, this is when Minecraft started popping again.
Consistently, generating substantial revenue and getting their...
I just want to point out this video right here. I want to point out this video right here. Anyway,
name more and more known within the community. That's without mentioning all the collabs she'd do on YouTube with some very well-renowned YouTubers, always titling the video as, "I fought the best Minecraft player in this," or "I got trained by the world's best Minecraft player in this." And what's interesting is that these channels weren't necessarily PvP oriented, so you had the casual Minecraft crowd that watched YouTube videos be aware of her existence and her...
That's smart. Like, branching out, that's very, very smart. It's like if me, like, I'm primarily like an Overwatch streamer. Like, I like the game, so I just stream it for fun. And it's like I branch out. Like, say I get like really good at that. I'm not that good. I'm like high plat right now. Say I get really good at that, and I start like branching off into like other spaces. Like, yeah, that's like smart. Am I probably gonna do that? Probably not. But is it smart? Yes. It's not quite a one for one, but yeah, like. The more eyes you get on you, like, even if only like a small part of them like stay, that's still big.
Unprecedented skill. And so, to the average bystander, Marlow had essentially made it. They had worked hard to become one of the best players in the world, and now they finally were able to start reaping the benefits. But you'd be mistaken to think that this was all sunshine and rainbows. Marlow had seemingly, for some people, come out of nowhere. And just like that, beaten players that have had so many years of exposure in the community made them look like they were amateurs, like they couldn't even play the game. On top of that, this was a community that had very few women in it. Minecraft PvP is mostly male-oriented. And in a leaderboard that
most competitive gaming is male-oriented, so yeah. I think like there are a lot of, like, again, relating it back to Overwatch, like there are a lot of very, very talented Overwatch players who are female. I'm pretty sure there's one in OWCS right now as well. Well, there's one that's like on a pretty successful team, and I'm pretty sure there are a couple around. But like, so I'm not saying like, oh, there are women, so they can't be. But like, yeah, I get why people are saying like, girls and women generally don't dedicate as much time to something like this. And also, it's just the environment's already very dude heavy, so it's like, oh, women. I feel like women don't really want to go into a prominent, mostly male community, which is, yeah, it's like fair. It's like dudes are like that too.
Very few,
most of the time, most of them anyway.
If not zero women, you'd see one woman come in and get to second place, trailblazing over everyone else. And so if you've been on the internet for long enough, you'd know that all these things combined, especially with the very chaotic Minecraft community, would lead to one of the most unstable periods in Minecraft PvP history, in which Marlow, at the center of all this, would be subject to massive harassment and criticism. What would follow from that chaos, though, would be Marlow cementing her power like no one could have ever imagined.
Yeah, like harassing her just for that, like rising up quickly, like even if it's sus, like harassing her for it, or her as far as we know for now, but it is still a scummy thing to do. Like, even though they turned out to be like a cheater and whatever, like even after that, like harassing them is still pretty scummy.
Dream, a name typically synonymous with cringe or vomit, is a YouTuber who at some point was one of, if not the biggest Minecraft YouTuber of all time. This was during the pandemic.
I wouldn't say all time, but yes, during that time he was the biggest. Saying stuff like, oh, the biggest all time, is like a lot of people got a lot of views. Like, who knows, really?
Getting over 100 million views on some of his videos, as well as 34 million subscribers, would, on June 11th, 2020, claim to have beaten the Minecraft speedrun world record. An incredible feat, but also
it is
very divisive. You see, this would lead an unprecedented amount of people to examine every single second of his gameplay and determine that there were some things that simply were too improbable statistically to occur at the same time in the same run, to the point where it's almost impossible. It will be centered on some item drop rates that would allow him to finish the game so damn quickly. When confronted with this, Dream would time and time again deny this vehemently, saying that he didn't cheat, it was legit, and even trying to prove that in numerous ways. In fact, by December 2020, he would get so desperate that he would famously hire a Harvard astrophysicist.
What the hell? I did not hear about this. I didn't really follow the Dream stuff. Like, I watched some of the videos, like the manhunt videos. They were funny and stuff, but like, I know he like cheated some stuff. I had no idea he did this. What the hell?
assist to write a 20-page report as to why Dream
does he not have anything better to do? Like, if I was this like Harvard student, like, does he not have anything better to do than this? Or did he pay him off? That's crazy.
Yes, it sounds as ridiculous as you might think, and it actually did happen. I still can't believe it to this day. What's most important to point out here is that after this paper and after he tried to disprove it multiple times, his fanatical community, who was extremely big and parasocial at the time, would attack, bully, harass anyone who disagreed. Anyone who'd make a video about this would get bombarded with dislikes, with bad comments. It really set this side of the internet ablaze. Anyone who was a part of the Minecraft community was aware of this. But even so, they didn't let go of this. They weren't going to let him get away with it. And only after a few more months of pressure by the community would Dream finally let go. By May 2021, Dream would write this massively long Twitter post admitting that he cheated, but that he had no idea. He had something installed on his PC, had forgotten to remove it or something, and oh man.
Oh no, Clara strikes again. Jesus Christ. That's the most pathetic excuse you can use. At least be creative.
And it just so happened to be there and I did it. How unfortunate. Cheating accidentally happens to the best of us. Well, I'm sure that when he cheated in February 2026, he did that on accident too. But that's a completely different story. All you need to understand is that Dream has quite an impressive cheating resume.
He does.
Okay? And unfortunately, this says a lot about the community. If the biggest Minecraft YouTuber at the time was able to pull off a cheating scandal, then what the hell is stopping everyone else? Nothing, which is what we've been seeing.
This happened a lot for a little while.
Over the last few years. It feels like every month I see something pop up in my recommended about some guy who cheated and deceived the whole community. At this point, it's part of the Minecraft culture. And so because of that, the community, rightfully so, has a lot of trust issues when it comes to records. Whether it be a speedrun record, a PvP record, a ranking system, you name it. This is a very low trust community when it comes to the competitive scene. So by the time Marlow had become the #1 player of all time in PvP, those same suspicions were being put at the—
Yo, what the hell? He went up a little bit, 330. She went all the way up to 450. That is kind of suspicious.
Forefront yet again. Because she hadn't just beaten the best player of all time, which was It's Real Me, she had wiped the floor with him, sitting at 450 points while he was sitting at 330 points. These points signify an accumulation of every single one of these 8 game modes. And Marlow was the only player on planet Earth that had gotten tier 1 in every single one of these game modes. Have you ever seen someone that is so skilled at driving? They're the best Formula 1 driver, drift car race driver, rally car race driver, NASCAR race driver, just everything. They're the best at everything involved.
Damn, he won all of these? I know he won a lot. I'm a very big football guy. I know he won a lot, but like seeing it all displayed out here like this is mind-blowing. But he was such a good player.
Building a car? No. And yet there she was doing it. To some, this was an amazing achievement that needed to be celebrated, especially since she was a woman and you don't see many of those in Minecraft PvP. And to others, this was extremely suspicious and it didn't necessarily have to do with gender. Well, actually it kind of did, because many believed that Marlow wasn't even a woman. Some had reason to believe that the person behind Marlow was none other than Danger Mario, a player who already had a bit of a reputation on certain PvP servers and who created Marlow as his persona. One of the first people to reveal this to the world would be the YouTuber Zay.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, it could be a coincidence. But yeah, most people don't do everything the same way. Like, everyone kind of has their own, the way they like their own hot buzz.
Uploading a video titled Marlow's True Identity, 3+ Years of Lies on May 10th, 2024.
Wow, that's a while ago now.
Finding an old video of Danger Mario that was deleted off of YouTube and comparing his and Marlow's hotbar, and they played very similarly in that regard. He'd also compare their PC specs based on what Marlow said and what Danger Mario had already revealed to the internet. They would turn out to be using the exact same PC coincidentally. They would then argue that there's sufficient proof to prove that Danger Mario had used the Marlow account back in 2021 to test whether he'd get banned or not using the Meteor client in one of the PvP servers he was going on. saying that the Marlow account just so happened to be banned at the same time that Danger Mario had uploaded video talking about the same subject. At the time, Danger Mario used a TTS voice and never revealed his real voice. Look, this video would get a lot of attention because people already had their suspicions, but it would still get a lot of backlash as well.
Oh, was this before like the dislike button was removed? Probably. That was, I don't remember when that happened now, but maybe. Yeah, I mean obviously 14k to 2.5k, like that is a lot of hate, yeah, but not as much as you think, honestly.
Well, in 2025, someone would come in and type, "This aged like absolute shit."
You could say the same. I'd love if someone like went back, responded to him with the exact same thing. That'd be funny.
Someone else would say, "All happened because PvPers never heard of women. Bro isn't cooking. Skull emoji." And overall, he was seen as a complete madman who was prone to conspiracies and who just hated Marlow because she was a woman. But even though Marlow's community was very loyal and willing to defend her no matter what, it was getting hard to ignore just how skilled Marlow was, to the point where it was almost inhuman. Back in 2024, this was some of her haters' main criticism. And eventually, it would get too big to ignore because one of the co-founders of mctears.com, Learn, would also become convinced that Marlow has to be cheating. There's no way someone can be that good. It's just inhuman. So Marlow's walls were closing in around her. But even though you might think this just might be the typical case of a cheater in the Minecraft community, where people keep calling them out, they keep denying it, and eventually they get caught, this here was very different. This was not like the Dream situation, because unlike Dream
jump scare,
Marlow had a secret weapon. And that weapon...
memes after the face reveal were pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. Again, I didn't follow it that closely, but it was everywhere. You couldn't avoid it. It was kind of funny.
Was the misogyny shield. You saw it in some of the comments on the video we just saw. "Oh, Minecraft player discovers what a woman is. You're just hating because you're insecure and a woman is top 1 in the game that you play." And I mean, of course this would be the community's reaction. If a woman just as much says hi in an online game, she gets instantly killed. Marlow was aware of this, and seeing that she was getting never before seen criticism from the community, she decided to fully double down on this defense, creating a video response titled "My Experience with the Minecraft PvP Community." A 2-hour full...
Oh my god. That's crazy. I don't know how you talk about something like this for 2 hours.
14-minute video going through every piece of criticism ever laid upon her and presenting it with this thumbnail. And I mean, come on.
Oh, look at them. Now that makes a bit, I guess it makes a bit more sense.
You know, like, it doesn't take a genius here. It makes it look like she's being assaulted by a mob of angry psychos just because she's a woman. And if you watch the video itself, that's mostly the arguments used here. The video would mostly focus on 2 topics, and Marlow would speak with, well, a female-sounding voice. It would make Learn, one of the co-founders of mctears.com, seem like a backstabbing psychopath who had it in for her just because she's a woman. The other part of the video would focus on the whole idea of totalitarianism, how she silences any critics, and how this whole thing, this whole hoax about how she's actually Danger Mario is nothing more but a carefully engineered lie to smear her. How, according to her, she believes that the Danger Mario account was created and owned by those same haters, how she has nothing to do with it. This video would get over 800,000 views, would be very well received, have a very nice like to dislike ratio, and the comments would be nothing but supportive, reiterating that this is just a game, or saying things like absolutely ridiculous the amount of obstacles you had to go through just because you merely existed. Many were convinced that this wasn't a topic about catfishing or cheating. This was purely insecure men who just couldn't stand seeing a woman be better than them in a game. It made the overall Minecraft community look bad, something that this community truly didn't need, seeing as like every year there's a content creator that comes out to be some sort of child diddler, and it strengthened the misogyny shield defense to
The fact that happens so much is... it's depressing to think about.
Precedented levels for Marlow. But again, while some were really concerned with the idea that this was a catfish, this wasn't a woman, at the time it overshadowed the main issue. The fact that she's a hacker, the fact that she's not playing legit, she's too good.
So obviously we know now, yes, cheater. That was very smart of them to go for the whole like female aspect. Oh, sorry. That was actually very smart of them. Because like it makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna go too deep into the women in video games thing. Like endless videos on that, but this entire thing was surprisingly well crafted. I'm kind of surprised how well like this all. Like I thought this would be a little bit more like, oh, how did you not see this stuff, like blah blah blah. But no, this is well crafted. Not excellently, because again, this like right here, this 450 to 330 is kind of crazy. They did go a little bit overboard, but even then, well crafted.
For a human being, this wasn't about gender. But after this video that was released in July 2024, if you went to any Minecraft PvP content creator, even someone who was absolutely destroyed by her, with proof that she's cheating, you get immediately and utterly shut down. Because by that point onwards, if you had anything negative to say about Marlow, you were considered a misogynist in the Minecraft community. You were someone who simply hated women. You were an incel because Marlow did nothing wrong. And so, emboldened by this incredible support by the community, a few months later, around the end of 2024, Marlow would release a 17-page Google Doc titled The Future of MC Tiers. Here she would reiterate some of the points she raised.
Not the Google Docs. Oh god, there's so many of them.
In her video about Learn being a weirdo and about how the other co-founder, Enz, wasn't agreeing to removing him. This is when she would announce to the world that since she's the one who was paying for the infrastructure of MC Tiers, she'd be reclaiming her accounts to become the sole owner of mctiers.com as well as its Minecraft PvP server. She has successfully convinced
Talk about a power grab, Jesus.
The community that these two other co-founders were weird and that the website was going to continue, but instead of being co-owned by 3 people, it would be owned by her exclusively. There was nothing really suspicious or weird to be considered by the wider community at the time. And so, end of 2024 onwards, this would somewhat be the status quo. After reaching rank 1, Marlow would retire. MC Tiers would still be the top destination for any PvP related rankings, and on the surface it seemed like things were starting to calm down. But they weren't. And to be honest, it's mostly because this...
I wonder if they retired because it was getting a bit much. So they were like, well, you need to kind of... Almost like an attempt to kind of just ride off into the sunset. I wonder.
Tier list is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. By this point, both Marlow and It's Real Me would have retired. They're not playing the game anymore. They're not participating in rankings anymore. And yet MC Tiers had this weird policy where even retired players get to stay on the overall leaderboard, the overall active leaderboard. This meant that Marlow was number 1. And since Marlow somehow managed to get tier 1 in every single fucking game mode, it meant that no one on planet Earth could ever hope to get number 1. She had capped points, crazy. 450 points, tier 1 in everything. Even if you were to get tier 1 in everything, you would only cap at 450 points, which makes you 2nd place, and she reached it 1st. This meant that she had a chokehold on the tier lists for the Minecraft PvP community and on...
No one found this suspicious at this time? Or at least, I mean, I'm sure people complain, but like, if you're retired, I feel like there should be, like, what's it called? Like I think Overwatch has it's like degrading, and Marvel Werewolves has it too, of like, if you don't play for a while, you slowly start to like drop down. I feel like it should have some sort of system like that.
The number 1 spot. Over time, people would start to find this ridiculous, and the criticism would intensify to never before seen levels. However, if you had anything to say about Marlow, her cheating, or her not being an actual woman, you would simply get banned from the MC Tiers discords as a whole and blacklisted from the server. This meant that you could never hope to participate in this tier list that is considered to be the official tier list for Minecraft PvP. And you wouldn't even be able to play on the Minecraft server of MC Tiers. Anytime you'd open your mouth to say anything regarding Marlow that's negative, you would simply be banned for being a dirty, misogynist incel. The silencing would go on for almost 2 years. But it would finally reach a boiling point in 2026 when everything that Marlow had built would fall apart within the span of a few weeks, while also revealing to us her extremely disturbing master plan, which involved her purposefully waiting until things...
Keeping up for that many years is impressive. How could it possibly fall over in a couple weeks? That's one of those things that like, they take time, or they're like one massive thing. Interesting.
Things do reach a boiling point in order to fake her death on a call with some of the biggest Minecraft content creators you can imagine.
What?
The Minecraft PvP community would reach a boiling point around January 2026. Around this time, a handful...
Jack in the bottom right. Nice.
of different YouTubers would release their own videos exposing Marlow, whether it be deception about the fact that she's a woman or straight up talking about how she's a hacker, she's a cheater, and she's not actually that good at the game, providing as much proof as possible based on the gameplay we were given. As far as I can tell, this would all start on January 10th, 2026, when the YouTuber Critically would upload the video titled The Art of Deception, Marlow, in which he'd argue that Marlow's moves were physically impossible, but also that her gameplay was simply inconsistent. He'd make multiple gameplay-specific arguments as to how Marlow's gameplay simply didn't make sense unless she was hacking, going up against someone using hacks himself to prove that her moveset was the same exact thing. It was
that is crazy. Going like, no, I'll prove it by hacking. I mean, hey, if it works, but interesting.
It's just how a hacker would play. When he would bring any ounce of criticism up in the server, well, he'd get banned for destructive behavior.
With no appeal, by the way. You need an appeal system, definitely. Come on now.
So now he has no access to MC tiers and can't participate in the tier list. Unlike the videos released in 2024, this one would be received pretty well, with many agreeing. 6 days later, on January 16th, 2026, the YouTuber Mario Kart 617 would release a video titled The Curious Case of Marlow, in which he'd also argue, using some of the same arguments, that Marlow is simply not legitimate. There are some very obvious signs of aimbotting, as well as just straight up hacking. And all these videos had one thing in common, making the point that the referee shouldn't be a part of the competition. Marlow, being in such a position of power, allowed her to get away with this for a long time without anyone being able to do anything about it because she owned the tier list. So as you can see, these videos were coming out fairly frequently in January, and unlike back in 2024, they weren't being received as like conspiracy theorists because these people weren't focusing on the fact that Marlow wasn't a woman. They were focusing on the fact that Marlow was cheating, regardless of gender. And even though Marlow was running her Discord like a totalitarian dictator, banning pretty much anyone with anything negative to say, these accusations of cheating would start to take hold in a very serious way in the community, to the point where even she couldn't ignore it. Even in her little totalitarian Discord, she had to make some sort of response. And eventually, she did. On January 23rd, 2026, Marlow would upload the video titled...
I thought this was completely unrelated. She just randomly posted that like before that. Okay, no. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting title.
Hacking is Bad, sitting at over 1 million views.
Wow.
Starting it off with some text on the screen saying, "For years, I have been accused of hacking, boosting, and other forms of anti-competitive behavior. Throughout the community, for years, people have used my name, skin, etc. in order to attempt to increase views. In recent times, this has been detrimental. A domino effect has led people to rapidly producing content claiming I hack. It certainly does get clicks. I will be proving my legitimacy in a public manner, as it's the only way to make it properly accessible to outsiders coming across slander." So for this, Marlow would show a hand cam of her mouse. That's it. No keyboard. She'd use some excuse about needing to use a keyboard tray, right? But you can't even see the keyboard, which is funny because some of the main accusations were relating to the hotbar and how quickly she switched between items that wasn't humanly possible. But anyway, she would show a hand cam, and to the many people watching this, who also happened to watch the other instances in which she destroyed pro players, they could see something very interesting. The fact that she was extremely slow. Okay, this was nothing compared to the gameplay we had seen of Marlow previously. This was not the same Marlow that beat Clown 100-0. You know why? Because this actually looked like a human being playing. Those other clips weren't. Marlow would also show this all happen on a brand new laptop, trying to prove that there were no hacks involved whatsoever, and then would go on to show the entire PC, right? A forensic screenshot. That's the majority of the video. That's like 1 hour, 40 minutes of the video. It's safe to say that most people didn't really watch this. But the point that Marlow was trying to make here is that no, there are no hacks on my PC, and my gameplay is actually legit. But it actually would backfire very hard. This was just another dream hiring an astrophysicist.
Pretty much. I mean, genuinely, I think in this situation, you just ignore the hate. You just keep going. You keep going and you keep going, and you never address it. And eventually, will either blow over or people will oust you. And doing this, you're going to be ousted anyway. So that's what I think. I hope I never get into controversies. Again, I'm doing this as a hobby, so like I severely doubt it. But yeah, it is. Jesus Christ, man. This is crazy.
Scenario. Marlow had carefully thought out the initial.
Why would who has time for this? Why would you do this? Do you not have a job? Like obviously this is like career now, but like they don't post often enough to really make any money. I feel like enough to like sustain themselves probably. Oh, they post like a couple times a year, maybe?
She had made back in 2024, making herself out to be a victim being attacked by the Minecraft community for being a woman. But this was different. This felt like she was digging herself deeper into a hole that she had created. That's because her answers to the many questions the community had only ended up raising even more questions. Why are you hiding your keyboard? Why is your gameplay so different? Why are you so slow? Something just wasn't adding up. So barely a week after uploading this video, as more and more people start to ask questions and as certain content creators also started to ask these questions, Marlow would make this statement in her Discord server saying, "Hey everyone, I'm making this post to announce that I will be transferring ownership of MC Tiers and leaving all of my related staff positions.
Whoa.
Ownership will be transferred to Rai, who as many of you know has been a long-term staff member and contributor to the project. Over time, it has become clear that the bitterness towards my position has grown to a point where it now actively detracts from the community itself. I believe that my presence is no longer ideal for the health and stability of the community, and that transferring ownership is circumstantially necessary. I would like to make something clear though. I reject the claims of corruption, theft, and abuse that have been made against me as an owner, and my decision to transfer ownership does not serve as a concession to being guilty of these claims. Despite leaving, I will not allow my previous reputation as an owner to be tarnished. I intend to release an extensive video covering and conclusively debunking these claims.
Oh my god,
in fact,
let it go
it's one
and
of
move
my top
on.
priorities at the moment. And due to the totality of the claims being made, it will take some time to complete. On a personal level, this is a deeply disappointing decision for me to make. I've invested an enormous amount of time, effort, and care into building this community throughout the many years that I've been a part of it, and it feels as if my effort has been repeatedly met with hatred and vitriol along the way. I still intend to remain part of the competitive scene. Competing has always been one of the core reasons I have been as immersed in the game as I am, and I'm not yet finished fulfilling my ambitions. I believe people will also get to see once more that my success as a player was never a result of any stat position I held, but rather was the result of my mindset and dedication.
But they retired, so what do you mean like, oh, I'm still gonna compete? Like, didn't they retire at this point? Okay.
Towards becoming a better player. Something that I want to note is that I've been largely offline on Discord. I have signed in out of necessity to make this post, and my absence will remain the case for the foreseeable future while I focus on what's in front of me. I hope that Rai and all the other supporting staff members will have a positive experience with the community moving forward. At this point, the community was split. On one hand, they felt shame that they were part of a community that bullied a woman so endlessly that she had to leave, and they wanted their revenge. On the other hand, people saw this as an admission of guilt, as someone trying to run away now that they were caught, not wanting to admit that they are a fraud. In the end though, Marlow had chosen to leave, and with her, many others would follow, including Flowtives, a well-known player in the community who had previously defended Marlow against the hate and vitriol she had received, that now said he believes she's cheating. Additionally saying that he's very frustrated with the tier list system because almost like 40% of the top 200 players are just hackers in his opinion. Things felt like they were completely falling apart, but this was just the beginning. This was nothing compared to what would happen next. On February 12th, 2026, the YouTuber Reefwan would release a video titled Marlow, the biggest cheater in Minecraft history. Here, we'd get some of the most detailed analysis on the internet when it came to why and how Marlow cheats, going frame by frame to show that it's physically impossible as to how fast Marlow would switch items on the hotbar.
Yeah, wait a minute.
It's physically impossible as to how fast Marlow would switch going frame by frame to show that it's physically impossible.
Yo, what that? Nah, fingers don't move that. And the fact it's identical is crazy. Whoa. You can see by the spinning thing.
And how Marlow
the pearl here.
Going frame by frame
how fast
to show
it
that
goes.
It's physically impossible as to how fast Marlow would switch items on the hotbar. The only way to do so is hacking. That's literally how it looks when you hack, as well as going deep inside the math of it all. This would really analyze all sides as well, trying to view this from different viewpoints. Okay, what if she's innocent? Then that means this happened. Well, if she's not innocent, that means this happened. Additionally, he'd reach out to some of the top players in the community, as well as people who are specialists when it comes to Minecraft hacks. Not a single person side.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's very likely that she's cheating. Yes, not sure about the newer videos, but definitely the older one. Oh, interesting. Yes. Doing some hacks. GG. Yeah, Minecraft cheating drama in the big 26. It's obvious. I mean, it has to be like, again, the frame perfect identicalness of it all and how fast. Yeah, that's crazy.
Headed with Marlow. And this to many was enough proof. She's 100% cheating. There's no arguing about it anymore.
Yeah.
People are finally not scared to talk about it. But again, you'd be mistaken to think that this is where things ended. Because now that people understood that Marlow was hacking, Next up came the accusation that was already shut down a couple years ago for sexism, which was the fact that Marlow wasn't even Marlow. It was a man that was pretending to be.
This is what I'm more interested in.
On March 15th, 2026, the same YouTuber, Reefwan, would upload another video titled The Marlow Interview featuring Danger Marlow. In this video, Reefwan would get into a call with Marlow and ask her to prove that she's a woman by saying some very simple words, nothing crazy. And so Marlow took the bait.
So in any other situation, this would be crazy. Also, it also could have gone in a very, very different and weird situation by saying prove you're a woman. But that isn't it. I understand why people were like, "Oh, you're misogynistic," blah blah blah. Like, because someone needing to prove they're a woman is insane.
Thinking that this was going to be simple, but Reefwan had carefully planned this out. But before we get into this, you have to understand how Marlow's real voice sounded, the one that was shown in her previous videos. Listen.
To lay the red carpet for a new prospect to replace me by exiling me from the community. Well, to most people, this video seemed like it was intended to service the.
So this was how she
from the community. Well, to most people, this video seemed like it was intended to service the.
So this was how she
me from the.
Listen.
To lay the red carpet for a new prospect to replace me by exiling me from the community. Well, to.
It kind of just sounds like she doesn't have the best mic. It's not too clear. I don't have the best mic either. So like even in my audio, you can hear certain stuff like that. So, like we know the answers already. But like yeah, like I wouldn't be able to tell this either. That's great. That's very good.
Most people, this video seemed like it was intended to service the.
So this was how she sounded in her 2024 video in which she accused the community of dogfighting.
Okay.
Now listen to how she sounds on the call with Reefwan when he would ask her to say some very simple words. Cat, key, cow, cake, cookie, kick, coke.
Cat, key, cow, cake, cookie, kick, coke.
Whoa, that is. So that makes sense. Like certain, like how like certain AIs can't pronounce certain words. Yeah, I'm guessing like certain voice changes probably make certain stuff sound weird, and it does sound very weird. What the hell?
Cat, key, cow, cake, cookie, kick, coke.
If she's using the same mic and it sounds different, then obviously yeah. But even then, like if people could argue it's just the mic is shit, but like it sounds way, way different. That is wow. Okay.
Can you sing a song for me? I'm not gonna sing a song for you.
So look, it sounded very robotic, suspiciously so.
Yeah.
He would then ask her to sing a song. She doesn't want to sing a song. Okay, fine. He would then ask.
Denying singing a song isn't even that suspicious, because like I say she was innocent and I was in her shoes as innocent, yeah, I'd be annoyed at that request too. But again, knowing the context of yeah, she is guilty, Jesus Christ, man. The entire thing is just weird.
Ask her a very simple request, the final request. Please just say do re mi fa sol la si do with the proper pitch, right? Like not do re mi fa, no, like do re mi fa sol la si do. And so yeah,
I don't know. I
watch
could
what
do
happens.
that. I haven't done that in years.
Okay, just say do re mi fa sol.
I could. Like I don't know why it's like I could. It's not really that. I'll just go up in pitch each time.
But you don't have to sing it. Just change pitch. That's it.
The pitch one is big, yeah.
She's nowhere to be found.
Oh.
She's still online, on the phone, nowhere to be found. Can't even say the simple sentence, right? Like a 5-year-old can do this.
Yeah.
Type in the message.
After 1 minute and 13 seconds of pure
Wow.
silence, Marlow would disconnect and then would conveniently say that the power cut out in her state. Yeah, how convenient.
In her
Things were now
state?
looking horrendously bad for Marlow. Not only were people convinced that she was a straight up hacker, but
like the whole. That sounds like you're trying to say like the whole state. I'm like, this didn't come directly from her, so I'm not even gonna try and put words in her mouth and stuff. But okay.
Now it was about the fact that she wasn't even a woman. In fact, he was pretending to be a woman this whole time. But
This
why?
is
To what end?
wild.
What's the goal here? Who is this Danger Mario, and what the hell does he want from this community? What was the plan? Well, after this video from Reef...
Attention? Maybe? Money? I mean, they were getting crazy views, so I'm guessing they made at least a good chunk of change from this. But probably just attention, realistically.
We would find out, and it would be way more disturbing than any of us could have ever imagined.
Oh, God.
On March 18th, 2025, the YouTuber Aximity would upload a video titled Marlow's True Identity.
Okay, I want to read this. In case you're wondering why is he in airplane mode, it was because this is from a 20-minute recording of their Telegram messages, and he didn't want notification. That makes sense. So again, the way you can still view Telegram message history on airplane mode. Yeah, definitely be so down. Who is texting you? I don't know. Yeah, you'll be able to be seen. It's 8. Sorry, I'm a little tired. Maybe even today. The day is pretty fine though, I think. Okay, I'll go to bed and probably want to wake up around. Yeah, I'll sleep now. Okay, just...
But she claims that someone close to Danger Mario, who knew him, would join his Discord claiming he had text messages dating back all the way to 2023 that would expose him for who he truly was and his entire plan involving Marlow. So these two would communicate on the messaging app known as Telegram, and this leaker with messages dating back to 2023 would
endeavors, danger. Thank you, I'll be able to... Okay, so yeah, danger. That's what they called them. Interesting.
To this other person as Danger, aka Danger Mario,
yeah,
the person accused of being behind the control of Marlow. Back in December 2023, we could see the plans that Danger Mario was having for Marlow, saying,
if he's going to read them, I'm not going to read them myself.
But next year I'm going to hard grind YouTube and commentate content by cloning an AI voice impression of Marlow. I'll rack up a bunch of subs and become pretty well known, then I might open up a large-scale Minecraft server as they are extremely profitable. I have a Discord server.
They are? How do you profit from Discord? Oh, MC server, not Discord server. Yeah, they can be profitable, yeah. Oh, yeah, so profit is the goal, yeah. I forgot you can, like, if you're on the server, you can make a nice amount of money from it. I forgot about that.
Social media influencers and server admins, and I'm going to use that to fully prepare the blacklist, which is basically a list of players that have been known for malicious activity like swatting, grooming, doxing, etc. Yeah. I'll be able to gain camaraderie with a lot of relevant servers and influencers simply by running something so community-oriented. Hell, in 2024...
It's true, and it's sad that you can use that against the community. That is true. Something super community-oriented, like, obviously that would attract people. That would attract me if it's like something I was like really, really interested in. Oh god, that's sad.
Danger Mario would send the leaker an image. In it, we can see Discord messages.
Oh, let's see. Not Drew or soon. Okay, not.
And more importantly, in the yellow highlighted text, we can see Marlow being either replied to or pinged. This only happens when you're the person being pinged or being replied to. So he's right here showing that he's actually Marlow. This leaker was someone who definitely was very trusted by Danger Mario. Back in 2024, as Marlow was getting a lot of backlash and needed to address the community in some way, Danger Mario would write these statements and then send them to this leaker to ask his opinion. And one of the most interesting things in these texts...
Why is he leaking now? That's my question. Again, attention, or just, finally, like, grew a conscience, like, I guess, like, why now? Interesting.
Would be how in January 26, 2024, Danger Mario would already be pre-planning to release the infamous video known as My Experience with the Minecraft PvP Community on July 2024. He would, in his own words, say, "Indeed, this next vid is going to be about the community. It'll be really good for sparking drama and people sympathizing."
What? This is psycho talk. What?
Should redirect the haters and gain tons of support. The leaker would say, "Nice thumbnail."
Yeah, I was literally about to say, this thumbnail is different than the other one, so I wonder if it got changed.
Yeah, that'll definitely spark drama, to which Danger Mario would say, "I might be able to attain full ownership of the tier list in doing this," showing that this was the plan all along.
Yeah, this is a crazy person.
In these messages, we'd see Danger Mario sending this leaker an image of the hacks that he's using. It was an add-on to the client that he was using, the Meteor client. The reason why it went undetected for so long was because there was only one version of this. It was coded by someone named SNQ purely just for Danger Mario. We'd also understand.
Wow, dude, this is in depth. Never mind, I take back my previous statements. This is super in depth.
Understand why Marlow sounded so weird in Rifuan's video. That's because he'd be planning ever since January 2024 to generate an AI clone of himself talking in the Marlow voice. Apparently, Danger Mario had a pretty good effeminate voice. The guy had a high-pitched voice, I guess, and would want to train an AI to speak like him, and he would actually start using it for videos. This is when the leaker would link a video of a collab between Marlow and someone else, I guess, and would say, was this the AI voice? It's pretty good. To which Marlow would say, or I guess, yeah, Danger Mario would say, no, that was not good enough for me. I did that like 1.5 years ago, and he uploaded it late. It bothered me. Next vid will be a lot more legit sounding. And so, of course, when it comes to these text messages, some people would say that it's probably too convenient, right? This really features everything here. Well, Xfinity didn't just upload this video without doing any research or really looking into this. He'd go above and beyond and would attach every single bit.
This is like some CoffeeZilla type of investigation, honestly. This is super in depth. This is incredible. I'm super impressed.
Proof this leaker had about Danger Mario in a Google Drive. We'd even see a video of the leaker himself opening Telegram on his phone to show that all of these messages are legit. They're not made up, they're not photoshopped, they're not fake. This is exactly why the final part of this video is so damn disturbing. Genuinely, in all my time looking at like content creator drama, I've never seen something so disgusting, so audacious. In messages with the leaker as early as December 2023, Danger Mario would understand that eventually this whole Marlow persona will be exposed. This is when he'd come up with what he'd call the peer plot, saying, I'm going to fake Marlow's death by jumping off of a bridge with the camera facing the other way. I'll do it in a group with Marlow's closest friends and a few influencers.
Again, the fact you're calling it's like saying, oh, Marlow, like not me, is insane. Also, I'm gonna get back to Separate for 1 sec. Yeah, sorry guys, something quickly came up while I was streaming this. But yeah, back to this. Insane. This is the wildest thing I've ever seen related to Minecraft. Like, when I mean wildest, I mean, I say this now. This is like the most complex Minecraft situation I've ever seen.
The peer plot, saying, I'm going to fake Marlow's death by jumping off of a bridge with the camera facing the other way. I'll do it in a group with Marlow's closest friends and a few influencers. But before that, I'm going to spread false allegations about her from an alt, which I have already received staff positions on, grooming allegations. I've already built up the realism in Marlow committing suicide and vent conversations to her friends. Anyway.
No, this is genuinely, like, I don't know what psychopath, sociopath, I don't know what, this is crazy person behavior. Who thinks like this?
The grooming allegation video is more of a spark because I know the community is going to freak out over it. I'll have fully faked evidence and it will look legit. I think starting the Minecraft server will be pretty smart though. First, there are some people I want to help as well that I know as Marlow, so I need to attain some kind of financial success as well. Hyde thinks it's probably a poor decision to do the peer plot, but my concern is that I know that this won't last forever and eventually something will come out. So I have to be able to do something like this before it ends, then I'll be successful in my goal.
What is your goal?
As far as to say that if people would find out that the whole suicide attempt was fake, they'll just reverse it later, saying that he was in a mental hospital for months. It's just absolutely disgusting. It's mind-boggling that someone like this was able to get away with this for this long, all while throwing an entire gender under the bus. And for what? Some money? Some fame? Really? This is how far you'd go just to get that? Let's not forget that Marlow was an inspiration for a lot of female gamers.
This is tragic. I've talked to like some girls in, like, for example, the Overwatch community, and yeah, like, there's some it's sad to hear stuff like, oh, like they hear my voice and then they talk shit or something. It's like even if they don't immediately, like, they use it against them after that. It's disgusting behavior. It makes the whole thing a bit more tragic, yeah, that they're like pretending to be a woman, and then this whole like uniting through this like struggle, and this entire thing is so messed up. What the hell?
gamers. This person, or at this point persona, had a lot of fans, both male and female. People who had bothered to defend her, people who had bothered to be there for her in her most vulnerable moments. This would have traumatized so many people, and this dude's over here
also. Oops, forgot to go back to full screen.
Talking about it casually like he's about to go for boba tea on a Sunday. I mean, dude, this Danger Mario guy is ridiculous. At some point, he'd be working with someone in order to make the MC Tiers website, right? This was meant to be a joint venture. They were meant to work together. This meant that the person who made the website trusted Marlow, or Danger Mario. It's the same person. Well, Danger Mario would just simply steal the entire website without really paying this person or even working with them like the promise was, and that's actually how the current MC Tiers website would exist. This whole design was stolen by Marlow. The person who got scammed had to make an entirely different website on their own, and it's called pvptiers.com, which is now a competitor to mctiers.com, but still not as popular. And I think the most ironic thing in all this is
I wouldn't be surprised if it is after this. That's tragic.
That Aximity had actually made a video about Marlow almost a year ago, back in 2024. But he got harassed so badly by Marlow's community, called a sexist, an incel, misogynist, etc., that he ended up having to delete his entire channel. But there he is, back, and this time fully vindicated. To say that this absolutely shattered the Minecraft.
Oops. A lot of people got vindicated from this, especially like the first guy who made the video. That is gotta feel so good to be like, I goddamn called at you people. Should have listened to me. I mean, it did sound like the ramblings of a crazy person a bit at the time. But yeah, I can't believe, it almost doesn't feel real that someone would do this.
PvP community would be an understatement. This was an unprecedented earthquake, and now the memes that have come out of this are endless. One of my favorites is how Marlow was able to get tier 1 in everything except singing Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Si Do. But of course, the main question was, now that this is all out, what did Marlow have to say about it? What was Marlow's response? He was always there when controversy would get this big, was always willing to respond. And even though most people would have expected Marlow to completely disappear after this, surprisingly, they would send a message in Discord to everyone on March 18th, 2026, in which they would say, at everyone, hi, I want to provide you all with a proper explanation for everything that is currently going on. I'm generally reserved when it comes to addressing allegations, since I feel like it's best to do it in video form, but this controversy has reached a point where I can't not say anything. Increasingly, this has blown up to the point where havoc is being wreaked upon my reputation, my friendships, and my mental health. As most of you probably know, over the course of the year, I have been receiving cheating allegations. Over time, these allegations shifted from cheating into something more personal. For a long time now, I have been working on an extensive video to debunk the allegations being brought against me. The video has taken up countless hours of work and is already over 2 hours long. It would be already out by now, but every day more allegations come. It is challenging to keep up with the quantity and scope of new relevant videos and allegations to cover. I'm going to have to draw the line for how much I can include in this video. I will be finishing up everything I have already currently planned to include, and will be publishing the video as soon as I am able to. Due to the new serious allegations that have come out, I will have to create another video after the release of my next one. While my upcoming video will provide a large amount of insight into many of the claims being made, it is important that I address everything, hence the need for another afterwards. Recently, allegations surrounding the player Danger Mario have resurfaced, and all the subsequent allegations that come as a result. The driving factor behind all of this is the quantity of the supporting evidence. My belief is that anyone who is judging the situation this way is unaware of the extent of impersonation that this player, as well as his surrounding group of friends, have gone to in order to ruin me. I've already made a video which included this in extreme detail, see section Totalitarianism in my experience with the Minecraft PvP community. The most compelling part of the evidence being used against me is the fact that it has instances of conversations and personal details discussed about me within it. My ADHD as an example. In my full debunk video, I'll be addressing the origins of how these things were obtained, as well as what is actually going on throughout the situation. It's important that I reiterate, people claiming to be me does not mean that they are me. I understand that the scale of the evidence might appear significant, but it must be remembered that this is the same group of people that are willing to create an entire 2B2T YouTube series in an attempt to lure me into getting further conned. I strongly advise people refamiliarize themselves with what was covered in my old video, as it demonstrates the persistent pattern of behavior that serves as the foundation for everything.
Well, I did this entire line here about the 2B2T. I know what that server is. If you don't, it's like, what should they call, anarchist servers? Basically, anything is allowed. Cheating, all of this, and everyone's trying their best to survive. It's chaos, and it's the biggest, longest one. And oh, that sounds sus. Never mind. But it's a crazy thing. It looks pretty cool. I'd never get involved, but it does, from a distance, it's very cool. That's an interesting. I feel like that should have gotten covered a little bit earlier, but that's wild.
Happening today. Now look, I know what you might be thinking. How did she exactly disprove the fact that she's Danger Mario in this 2-hour, 14-minute video? Well, yes, it will be in the section totalitarianism, and it would mostly focus on a few interesting individuals that wouldn't stop harassing her about the fact that she's Danger Mario. These people would inconsistently accuse Marlow of being Danger Mario, while also saying that they used to know Danger Mario on the Anarchy server that he used to play on back in 2021. Marlow would claim that this is harassment and that what they were saying was inconsistent, but the problem was that this felt like Marlow was purely focusing on these people because it was easy to focus on them. It was easy to make them look bad because they didn't seem to be the most mentally stable individuals, and that worked at the time. But right now, this is all outdated. These text messages that were leaked from Telegram are completely different from this. You can't fake dates on Telegram. If something was sent in 2023, it was sent in 2023, and we have proof. The person opened Telegram and showed us. It's not photoshopped, it's not edited. How would Marlow explain that a screenshot was sent from someone who's being referred to as Danger, in which he was being pinged on the Marlow account? It just doesn't make sense. It's very easy to tell people, oh, go watch this 2-hour video that I know you won't even watch to prove that I'm innocent, but in reality, these Telegram messages pretty much debunk everything.
Especially considering like they knew this would all like bubble over and it will fall apart. Like they were like, you know, in the text messages like this is gonna fall apart. Just leave, abandon it. You've made a serious bag with this, from the videos, the server. Yeah, keeping up a server is expensive and it can be, but clearly they've made a decent amount of money from this. Just leave at this point. Just let it go.
In the end, though, Marlow seems to care more about the fact that people are exposing that, well, he's a man, compared to the fact that he's a cheater. The evidence and the proof are simply overwhelming. This is not real gameplay, this is not real skill, and this has nothing to do with whether this is a man or a woman. But it was Danger Mario himself, or Marlow, or whatever you want to call this person, that very conveniently used the fact that they were a woman to deflect any criticism, throwing an entire gender under the bus. At the same time, the master plan of faking their death in order to run away from having to take responsibility for being a fraud is peak degenerate behavior. And you know what's crazy? Throughout my research, I saw people.
I kind of want to know what's wrong with a person like this, because like that sounds like the plot to some sort of movie, but no, this is a genuine idea they had. Oh, I can't even begin to imagine how you get to that point. Sorry, how you get to that point. Oh my god.
Play Minecraft PvP defending Marlow, right? Because they just happened to be a woman, or they just happened to be someone who wanted to stand up for women's rights, and saw people bullying Marlow, thinking that it's simply because a woman happened to be good at a game and was being bullied for it because of insecure men. The person behind Marlow planning to do something like this is the biggest form of insult for anyone who's dealing with mental health issues, and even content creators who went through the same thing and actually went with taking their own life. One example that comes to my mind is Etika, and it's just disgusting that someone.
There is that component too. I'm not gonna get super into that. That's like, it's very complex, very deep subject that I'm just not gonna get into in this like random react video. But I like the point they're making. That's, yeah, it's an insult to all of that. I 100% agree with them. You know, if you struggle with like mental illness, like it must suck seeing someone like use that against you, or like you trying to use that like against you essentially, you know, like if you're one of the people in this community, that's another component. But like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into it. That's a lot. We're almost done with the video, so just write this out and
like this would want to attempt to recreate that, all just to get away from the responsibility of something they created. Look, usually I wait for someone's response, but I doubt that Marlow's response is going to be adequate. I doubt that it's going to be any different from the last video they made. This is just another dream situation where we have so much proof that they're cheating, and while they can try to yap and talk for 2 to 3 hours about it, nothing is going to change. In fact, the more you talk about it, the more you'll seem suspicious, because why do you need to explain so much? The community has already made up its mind, and even people who used to call others misogynistic for calling out Marlow are now siding with them. This was never about gender, and it shouldn't ever be about gender. This is about someone who...
No, it shouldn't. When it comes to stuff like this, gender shouldn't ever really be a conversation. Now, this is a very specific situation where they did pretend to be a woman even though they were a dude. But like no, it never should be about that. And I don't know how many of those people, because I wasn't keeping up with this like as it was happening. I don't know how many of these people were genuinely hating on them because they were at the time thought to be a woman. But I doubt it was everyone, especially the people making those videos, or like some of the ones he mentioned. But yeah, this is so much. Why? I couldn't even imagine having the energy to keep up this ruse for years.
Took over an entire community illegitimately in the most manipulative way possible. And if there's anything for you to learn from this, it's to never defend content creators blindly. Look at all the different perspectives and then make up your mind. Otherwise, you'll be severely disappointed like many of the people who gave everything for Marlow. Now,
it's a funny tweet. I spent months defending a man. Oh, that's funny.
Like idiots. Thank you.
What, is this his Twitter profile pic? Look at that chin. Look at the chin on that man. That's not what his usual one looks like, or at least here on YouTube. That's funny.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see 2 exclusive videos where I yap uploaded every month, as well as a lot of high quality art of my character, then make sure to check out my stacked page in the description and the pinned comment. Prices start at $1. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Love you, platonically. Mwah.
You too, Mujin. This was a very well put together video, as usual, yeah. This is... Wow. Okay, so first, before I get like my final thoughts out, check out Mujin's video. I will try my best to remember to leave a link in the description of this video. So yeah, Mujin, great content, always super in-depth. No real critiques. This is absolute masterclass of a video. Back to the whole, I've said my piece with as the video went on. I don't even know how long we've been doing this recording for, but yeah, I've said my piece generally when it comes to this. Can't believe they did it. Embarrassment of a man. I also doubt the reply video will be anything of like if it does come out. I'm not even sure it will come out, to be honest, but if it does, I might like check out like what people think. I'm not gonna watch an entire like 4-hour video properly. I said they're only gonna do up to what they already made, so I'm not gonna watch a whole 2-hour video from them, but I'll see if I'll check it out probably. Maybe. I can't believe someone has the energy, the time, and the desire to do. There's so many things, like, you could have stopped at any given moment and you were determined to do this. Like, this is determination that I couldn't even imagine having for something like this. But yeah, I think we're gonna end it. I'm gonna end there. Outro time. Thank you for stopping by. If you like the video, subscribe, leave a like. This will be my first react video on this channel, so it would genuinely, I would appreciate it a lot. Going on this journey with me. But I'm still kind of in whiplash. I'm sorry. Again, Mujin video. Hopefully it's in the description. If it's not, remind me in the comments. But I should remember. I'm not that stupid. Yeah, support him, support me if you want to. I love you all. Goodbye.